remains the cornerstone of our peace process. It has provided a framework for governance, security arrangements, and national reconciliation. As the basis of the current government, our ARCIS must guide all subsequent peace efforts, including the Tumaini initiative. Following a review by the high-level standing committee on the implementation of the revised ARCIS provisions, it became clear that elections scheduled for December 2024 were not feasible due to delays in implementation key provisions, especially in security arrangements. Consequently, the R-Tribunal has extended its mandate so that elections take place in December 2026. President Salva Kiir Mayardit called on all the opposition groups to come back home and participate in the electoral processes that will ensure free and fair elections in December 2026. That is why it is important, brothers and sisters in the opposition, to aligning Tumaini with our ARCIS. We are not here to start the talks from scratch. We are here to build on what had been accomplished by improving and adjusting certain protocols that caused concerns from various parties signatory to the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in the Republic of South Sudan. As you know, the government we have in Juba is a coalition government of different parties brought together by an agreement. There has to be consensus in decision making. However, the review we intend to make will be done within the spirit of reconciliation and peace, and should not cause alarm. We have reviewed the Tumaini initiative protocols and recognize its potential to address gaps in the ARCIS. Therefore, we must avoid duplication and fragmentation. Tumaini must not be treated as a stand-alone agreement, but rather complementary to the ARCIS. This alignment will ensure coherence, streamline implementation, and avoid unnecessary bureaucratic structures that undermine already existing ones. By integrating Tumaini into the ARCIS, we can ensure a unified approach to peace and governance. President Salva Kiir and his government call for peace and development. Peace is a precondition for development. South Sudan is endowed with abundant natural resources, fertile soils, water, minerals, and a favorable climate. If we redirect our energies from conflict to agriculture, infrastructure, and economic growth, we can transform our nation into a land of prosperity and opportunities. Finally, on behalf of the President and the people of the Republic of South Sudan, I declare our collective commitment for unity and peace. I call upon all opposition groups to join hands with the with the revitalized transitional government of national unity in the spirit of unity and patriotism. Let us set aside our differences and focus on the collective goal of rebuilding South Sudan. President Salva Kiir Mayardit extends his hand in reconciliation, inviting all factions to return home and participate in shaping the future of our nation. Ladies and gentlemen, the time to act is now. Let us seize this opportunity to write a new chapter of peace, unity, and development for South Sudan. Together, we can achieve the South Sudan we envisaged or we envisioned during our liberation struggle, a nation of hope, justice, and prosperity for all. Thank you, and may God bless South Sudan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General. I would wish then to ask the entire audience then to give a hearty round of applause for all the three speakers. Can we acknowledge their remarks, because these are the primary stakeholders for this process. The Tumaini initiative will only be a success if indeed there is a meeting of the minds between the three delegations, or between the two delegations assisted by the stakeholders, because they are the true representative of the people of the Republic of South Sudan. As the speakers mentioned, it is now incumbent upon them to deliver their wishes. If indeed the commitment, the spirit of the brotherhood can be found among them, then we can, as well as the mediation, promise that by the time we are going to Christmas, then we'll be done with this process, not just the signing, but to underscore the commitment to achieve sustainable peace in the Republic of South Sudan. Thank you very much from our respective delegates for your remarks. We truly appreciate, and as we focus on tomorrow, we are certain that with this renewed commitment, it is a race towards the finish. Importantly, this process has only been a success thanks to the efforts, support, as well as follow-up of our different stakeholders representing the global community. First in line for recognition, we have the United Mission in South Sudan, and the United Nations represents basically the entire global community. Through the UNMISS, they have been central towards program of stabilizing the Republic of South Sudan way back since independence, up to the periods in which civil strife affected the country between 2013 to 2018. UNMISS has been at the forefront to ensure that the Republic of South Sudan is considered to be among the League of Nations that has sustainable peace, and the quality of life of its citizens is guaranteed. The Tumaini process has been a significant beneficiary right from the start. We started by consulting the mission in Juba. They have seen it fit since the commencement of this process to always have representation, including their media. Radio Miraya has been with us, live streaming our events, trying to educate the masses back in South Sudan as to what Tumaini seeks to achieve. And we are honored anytime to share a podium or a platform with them towards achieving this sustainable peace. Today, we are honored to have the deputy head of the UNMISS, Mr. Hong, and we want to welcome him to give his remarks. Welcome. A round of applause as he comes.
من هونغ، وهو طبعا يمثل رئاسة الأمم المتحدة في جنوب السودان.
Honorable Dr. Korea Shioe, Principal Secretary, Ministry for Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Kenya. His Excellency Kwok Mayang-juk, Senior Presidential Advisor and Head of the Government's Delegation. General Pagan Amom, Chairman, Real SPLM. General Paul Malone Awan, Chairman and Commander-in-Chief of South Sudan United Front and Army. General Stephen Bai, Chairman, Commander-in-Chief, South Sudan People's Movement and Army. General Maria Loco Thomas Jada, Chairman and Commander-in-Chief, National Salvation Front, Revolutionary Command Council. Representatives of the other stakeholders, including academia, youth, women, civil society, faith-based organizations, Chief Mediator General Lazaro Sambiu, and all Secretariat members, Secretary General of Sant'Egidio, representatives of the IGAD Special Envoy for South Sudan, members of the Diplomatic Corps, all distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It is my great pleasure today to represent SRSG and Head of the Mission Enemies, Nicholas Haysom, to attend this very important ceremony of resumption of the Tumaini initiative here. We welcome the recommencement of talks of this important initiative. I extend my deep appreciation to the Secretariat and all participants for your dedication and patience over the past 7 months, and for your steadfast commitment to achieving lasting peace in South Sudan. We commend President Kiir and President Ruto for their exemplary leadership in reconvening the talks. We noted the two leaders' repeated calls to conclude the talks expeditiously, which resonate with the aspirations of the South Sudanese people. We also commend the South Sudanese delegations who have come to these talks with a commitment of open hearts and minds. This spirit of openness is essential for the success of discussions here. It is imperative to note that the regional and international community's confidence and support for the Tumaini initiative can only be secured through demonstrable progress and collective commitments from all participants. More importantly, a successful conclusion to these discussions is needed for the sake of the people of South Sudan, who are eagerly awaiting the peace dividends. We encourage the inclusive participation of all voices in the Tumaini process to achieve durable peace and good governance. The perspectives of civil society, women, youth, persons with disabilities, traditional leaders, and faith-based groups must be integral to the Tumaini consensus document. As its name suggests, this Tumaini initiative has ignited hope for the people of South Sudan that deliberate efforts are being made to secure lasting peace in South Sudan. I wish you every success in your deliberations to bring peace to South Sudan. Lastly, as your partner for peace, I want to reaffirm AMI's and the United Nations' full commitment and support for your ongoing efforts to achieve durable peace in South Sudan. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Under the same broad category, our process has been a success thanks to the support of the international community. Financial support for the process has been forthcoming for the period we were in the first period in Ole Sereni, as well as when we came around here. We want to acknowledge the partners that have supported: the United Kingdom, we have Norway, we have the EU, China. They have supported the process. Under the auspices of Troika, the United States and the other teams have also been helpful for us in the diplomatic front. And the entire international community has never failed in any time when we call upon them to offer any form of support, joining us in trying to resolve this process towards its conclusion. So today we are honored to have among us different representatives of the different mission. So it's my honor then to recognize them. We'll be mentioning the country, then the representative will be upstanding, and I'll ask the audience or our distinguished delegates and members who have attended to just give a round of applause as we acknowledge each of them. So the first nation we acknowledge is the United States. The United States of America. Thank you very much. Number 2, we have the United Kingdom, also in representation. Thank you very much. We have Norway. Thank you very much. We have the European Union. Thank you very much. We have China. Thank you very much. We have Germany. Thank you very much. Italy. Let's not tire to give them a hearty round of applause. We have Egypt. We are also honored to still have ambassador also for South Sudan. It's more like a host like us. Thank you very much. We have representative of Sudan. Thank you very much. We have representation from Djibouti. A round of applause, who happen to be the chair of IGAD. Next, we also have representation of Eritrea. We have representation of Ethiopia. We have representation from our neighbor Uganda. Thank you very much. We also have representation of Rwanda. A round of applause. Thank you very much. We are also honored to have representation of Tanzania. Thank you very much. We are also honored to have representation of Burundi. And as I read all those names, you can see they are all members of the East Africa community. The previous list I read from the region were also representative of IGAD. Then we have the representation also from Iran. Thank you very much. We also have representation from Qatar. We also have representation from Saudi Arabia. And finally, we also have been honored to have representation of our brother Republic of South Africa. Thank you very much. So as you can see, for our distinguished delegates, the entire international community is in support and looking forward for a successful conclusion to this process. Without wasting time, let me therefore move quickly to also acknowledge and call upon part, or what I call partners within the mediation, who've been a significant help. I recognize the community of Sant'Egidio, who are the forerunners of this process post the 2018 agreement. The community of Sant'Egidio have been the co-mediators in this Tumaini process, and we've been with them since the onset of the commencement of this process. Right from the start, when Kenya received a letter from His Excellency Salva Kiir, community of Sant'Egidio has been onboarded and have been with us. I therefore take this quick opportunity to welcome Dr. Impagzalia to come give his remarks. Welcome. Very brief.
حديث للممثل بتاع سانتيجيديو في اللونش بتاع تومايني.
Your Excellency Dr. Abraham Korir Singoe, Your Excellency General Lazarus Sambeyus, Chief Mediator, Ambassador Mohamed Guyo, Deputy Chief Mediator, and all the Secretariat, Honorable Kwong, Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General, Honorable Mohamed Wari, IGAD Deputy Executive Secretary, Your Excellency General Kwol Manyang, Head of the South Sudan Government Delegation, and these distinguished delegates, Honorable Paganamun, Leader of SOMA, and the other delegates, distinguished representative of international organization and the international community, distinguished stakeholders, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me and for the community of Sant'Egidio to take the floor on this important occasion of relaunching the Tumaini political dialogue for South Sudan. Let me first of all acknowledge the efforts made by the Mediation and by the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Ruto, in supporting the Tumaini initiative and the genuine dialogue it has generated. There are too many wars and situations of deep instability that are disrupting our societies. The war in Ukraine, Sudan, Gaza, but we can also mention the Great Lakes situation, the northern Mozambique, just to give few examples. That's why the world needs good news more than ever. Pope Francis, in his visit to Juba in 2023, talking about the suffering of the South Sudanese people, said, and I quote, "May this protracted suffering not to be in vain. May the patience and the sacrifices of the South Sudanese, these young, humble and courageous people, challenge everyone and, like the seeds sown in the soil that give life to plants, allow peace to blossom and bear fruit. Brothers and sisters, it is time for peace." End of quote. It is time for peace, and it is the responsibility of each of us, mine too. And let me say that I also feel like a brother of this beloved country, South Sudan, and with me I believe many others, starting from General Lazarus, who has worked so hard for this country, mediating the CPA. It is the responsibility of each of us to do everything possible so that the people of South Sudan can live in peace and prosperity. Great work has been done here in Nairobi because the real issues have been touched upon. Perhaps not all of them, but real issues have been addressed. With the spirit of compromise, that is the beginning of peace and justice. Today, we are faced with a great opportunity, Tumaini, born in continuity with the Rome Initiative. Tumaini is a unique opportunity and therefore calls us to a great responsibility, through which we can welcome new demands for a lasting peace agreement. We believe that it is possible to speak a common language, not hiding the real issues, and I hope and wish us all that the spirit that has guided the dialogue between the delegation of South Sudan will continue from today and the coming days, and it will bear fruit. You can count on our support. We have done so as Sant'Egidio since 1994 with Dr. John until the day of independence. We have done so by supporting the political dialogue since 2018 and working for the ecumenical visit of Pope Francis to your country. We stand by Kenya today and will continue together to support your effort for peace. I thank you.
Thank you very much. The Tumaini initiative, even though led by the Republic of Kenya, the President in his statement underscored the importance of having regional support. And as a result, there has been concerted effort to ensure that Kenya sits as a representative of the region. And in that regard, from the onset, the process has always been anchored around the auspices of IGAD. And that's why IGAD has been at the center of this Tumaini initiative. We recognize IGAD being the regional body that brings together the Horn of Africa countries to have been at the forefront in negotiating the past peace agreement, primarily the Axis and Araxis. And as a result, with the desire to ensure continuity, but importantly to ensure that there is institutional memory, Tumaini sees itself as one step towards being part and parcel of the IGAD process. That at the conclusion of this process, we hope that then it can be onboarded and taken over by the IGAD, with Kenya being a member of this important organization. As a result, during the process, they have sat with the mediation as friends of the mediation, almost as co-mediators, but at the same time, they have been helpful in advisory and following through. Today, we are honored to have the Deputy Executive Secretary General of IGAD, and I wish therefore to welcome His Excellency Are to come give his remarks on behalf of IGAD. A round of applause as he speaks from his desk. Thank you.
Thank you very much. His Excellency Korir Sungwe, Principal Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Kenya, the delegates from the government and the opposition groups, the mediators, our co-mediators, the Sant'Egidio, the diplomatic community, the civil society. For the sake of time, excuse me, all protocols observed. First of all, I would like to thank the government of Kenya and His Excellency President William Ruto to have taken the initiative to lead this process. Kenya has an illustrious history in mediation in the region. I remember the role of Kenya in the mediation process that brought about the formation of the Somali transitional government in the 90s to Somalia, from which all subsequent governments have been based on. Therefore, Excellency, we really thank you for this. Specifically, we also thank His Excellency for taking the personal initiative and having taken this under his wing. We also thank His Excellency President Salva Kiir for taking the statesmanly position of giving his blessing to this dialogue, and for the opposition groups reciprocating in goodwill. We thank our partners and our donors, without whose input and sometimes criticism to nudge us forward is essential in pushing this process forward. Excellency, I also must thank the fantastic secretariat with which you have endowed on this process. I'll be very brief because much of the wisdom has been said and also will be said after me, so I'll be very brief. As you have heard, very soon, in about, let's not put a time frame on this, very soon, this process will formally transition, as His Excellency President Ruto has said, to IGAD. I hope by that time the agreements have been finalized, so that when it is transitioned to IGAD, it is not perceived by all parties and all stakeholders to be a hot potato which is dropped on our lap. Even if it is transitioned to IGAD, the role of Kenya will be very important, is important. I cannot envision a scenario where this process comes to a fruitful conclusion without the role of Kenya. In many ways, as has been said, this is the last chance. As you know, an extension has been done. Everybody knows and believes in their gut that this must be the last extension. And even then, many people, many partners, many stakeholders have not come to terms with this extension. Therefore, the window to get it right is very small. We talk about the 2-year extension. In fact, I would say we only have 1 year, because from our long experience, and my brother Dr. Guyo is here, of peace building in Somalia, the last year is usually consumed by electioneering and posturing, and people seem to lose their minds as the deadline approaches. Therefore, we have a good 1 year to get it right. Also, if this is transitioned to IGAD and we are not able to progress,
then who do we transition it to? So in that regard, our window to get it right is also very narrow. We have also the last opportunity, because we had the revitalized agreement. We had the agreement to resolve the conflict. Then we had the revitalized agreement. We launched the Tumaini. Now we are relaunching it. I say there is only one R in the alphabet. We have used that on the revitalized agreement and on the relaunch. We cannot say relaunch of the relaunch. This is the last chance. I'm not so worried about coming to an agreement. I was in Juba last week, and I was talking to a lot of friends, South Sudanese friends, and there are many similarities between the Somalis and the South Sudanese, probably something to do with the pastoralist culture. Doing the agreement is the easy part. It is the implementation that is the problem. I urge you, I beg you to come up with a realistic roadmap that will lead to a correct and fair implementation. We owe it to the South Sudanese people. We owe it to our hosts who have invested so much. We owe it to the partners. We owe it to the region, because a peaceful South Sudan will impact all the neighbors. Whether we are supporting the Kenya initiative or taking the lead in this process, IGAD stands with the people of South Sudan. We will be there with you. Please make our life easier. And Excellency Korir, even when you transition it to IGAD, I request that you hand over this wonderful secretariat to come along with that process. Thank you very much.
Another round of applause for His Excellency. And I hope the delegates have heard the plea from IGAD that let's make it easy for them, because writing and agreeing and coming to an agreement is the first part. The main task comes with implementation. We want to assure Your Excellency that as Tumaini, we have envisaged a process where, beyond the conclusion of the agreement, we've given our undertaking to our brother Republic of South Sudan that, unlike before, the Kenyan team would wish to volunteer and walk with them the journey towards successful conclusion as well as implementation of this honored agreement once and when it is agreed upon. Without wasting time, I will seek to recognize that the mediation has been conducted through the able leadership of retired General Lazarus Mbeyo, but importantly assisted by the Deputy Mediator, Ambassador Mohamed Guyo. We want to appreciate Your Excellency Honorable PS, together with the lead mediator, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, for seeing it fit to give us two able, distinguished and accomplished gentlemen to oversee the process that is not new to them. Ambassador Guyo has been in the process since 1993, and he keeps calling himself then as a spanner boy of our chief mediator Lazarus Mbeyo, because then he worked for the period of years until and when CPA was ushered in the new republic post 2005. Subsequently, he has participated within the regional peace initiatives. Importantly, the most recent for the Republic of South Sudan, he was part of the team that mediated the Axis in Addis Ababa between 2014 and 2015. Secondly, thirdly, he also participated in ushering the peace agreement after the Tigrayan war within Ethiopia, that is 2020-2021, and at the moment still facilitates as the chief facilitator for the internal talks between the Federal Republic of Ethiopia and OLA. At the same time, he remains our special envoy to IGAD, as well as issues to deal with Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. He asked that I only give his profile without inviting him here. So I'm giving that just to acknowledge. So I would wish we give a round of applause to our Deputy Chief Mediator. Then we reserve the remarks to our Chief Mediator, who is not a new person, but a solid name. The last 3 weeks, we've been honored to have our Chief Mediator receive awards from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for his role in the peacemaking. I personally had to attend one of the award ceremony because our Chief Mediator was away on an assignment, and it was difficult to take the award because of the accolade given to what he's done the past 40 years. To the people of Republic of South Sudan, General Lazarus Mbeyo is a household name who is credited to overseeing the negotiations of the CPA that gave rise to the Republic of South Sudan, and subsequently also participated as a mediator in the negotiation of Axis in Addis. That is why it was incumbent upon the Republic of Kenya to consider a distinguished person in the name of retired general. I would go on and on and on to give his CV, but let him speak for himself, for the process, and how he's been able to steer this process so far, and the promise we can give all the persons who have attended this session today on the way forward. I wish therefore to ask that we all give a round of applause as we welcome our Chief Mediator to be able to give his remarks. Thank you.
الوقت بالترحيب General Lazarus Mboyo اللي هو Chief Mediator بتاع Tumaini Initiative.
Abraham Korir Simoei, Principal Secretary, Foreign and Diaspora Affairs, Kenya Government, General Kwal Manyang Juk, Leader of the Article Delegation, Honorable Bagana Mum, Leader of the Opposition Groups, stakeholders from South Sudan, His Excellency Abdiware, Deputy Executive Secretary, IGAD, Intergovernmental Authority on Development, African Union C5 representatives, Excellencies from IGAD member states, Excellencies from East Africa Community member states, Excellencies from Troika and the European Union, Mr. Kwang Gong, Deputy Special Representative of the Secretary General United Nations Mission in South Sudan, UNMISS, Mr. Paulo Imbacliazo, Sant'Egidio Representative, Honorable Delegates, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of high-level mediation for South Sudan or Tumaini Initiative, I wish to welcome you to the resumption of negotiations following the return of the revitalized Transitional Government of National Unity, Article, from consultations in Juba. We have tried to put an atmosphere of South Sudan. I believe when you are in this tent, you feel warm like you are in South Sudan. We are in preparation of going to South Sudan. To start, I would like to take the opportunity to thank the opposition groups and the stakeholders for their patience and resilience over the last 2 months. In all this, I see the determination in you, honorable delegates, to pursue the path of peace for your beloved country of South Sudan. It has been a time of reflection for all of us, during which several other consultations have taken place to progress the peace process. Among these, I would like to take note of meetings, consultations between the opposition and His Excellency President William Ruto in Nairobi. The participation of the high-level mediation for South Sudan team in the Troika meeting in Oslo, and the visit of His Excellency Dr. William Ruto to Juba on 6 November 2024, all of which have enriched the way forward of the process. Honorable delegates, you will recall that since May 2024, we have worked tirelessly to identify what constitutes to all South Sudan despite the two previous detailed agreements of Axis and R-Axis signed in 2016 and in 2018 respectively. To your credit, honorable delegates, by end of August, you had come up with 8 protocols that have addressed the unidentified differences. You have also taken note of the ongoing and pending provisions of RX and now a new ones from Tumaini initiative in order to improve and build peace through improved implementation. Amongst the key outstanding reached in the various protocols is the trust and confidence building protocol that opened favorable momentum in the negotiations. Likewise, the protocol on guarantors provided for joint cooperation between the government of South Sudan and partners of South Sudan to work together with a view of strengthening the implementations through the mechanisms of National Leadership Council and the National Implementation Oversight Commission. Furthermore, honorable delegates, you have brought to the fore the permanent constitution-making process and elections preparedness, both of which are critical processes towards stabilizing the political climate in South Sudan going forward. In view of this, and as per instructions coming out of Juba through the joint communique of 6th November that instructed the mediation to conclude the outstanding issues within 2 weeks, I call upon you to work with diligence and to conclude what is outstanding in the responsibility sharing protocol and in the implementation matrix. Last but not least, let me welcome our partners in this process, amongst them in the Governmental Authority on Development, IGAD, ambassadors in Nairobi, East African Community ambassadors in Nairobi, the Troika, EU, UNMISS, and our co-mediators from Sant'Egidio. We wish you successful deliberation. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much. The Tumaini initiative, as conceptualized, can best be attested to efforts of our State Department of Foreign Affairs. Maybe unknown to most of the people sitting in this room, the efforts towards finding interest and congruence from the Republic of Kenya towards South Sudan started way back before even the invitation came from His Excellency Salva Kiir. The State Department of Foreign Affairs had seen it fit to explore ways in which Kenya can be a positive influence, but importantly a helping hand within the region, especially with the region undergoing challenges in different ways. We want to credit the leadership of the State Department as led by Honorable PS Dr. Korir Sing'oei for seeing it fit to give South Sudan an important consideration. And as a result, way back in 2023, the Secretariat that you see overseeing this current process was already a working group on South Sudan as a country in terms of how best Kenya can be a brotherly nation and of help or increased bilateral between Kenya and the Republic of South Sudan. The Honorable PS saw it fit to have a team that would more or less advise, but at the same time be always on the lookout for any opportunities. That at the time the letter of request came from His Excellency Salva Kiir, it didn't take long, or it was not a difficult task to put up a team together, because the working group just transitioned to be the Secretariat. We are honored to have been given the opportunity, but importantly to appreciate the foresight and the effort that was under the leadership of Dr. Korir Sing'oei. So I take this opportunity, and we insisted, we delayed having this session on Monday, Tuesday, until we could ensure that our schedules align and have him come address this session, because he's one person who's been at the heart of the process right from the inception and with a view of conclusion. As he speaks, he'll be speaking on behalf of the Republic of Kenya, but importantly on behalf of the lead mediator, His Excellency. So I would wish then to ask that we reserve our hearty appreciation and a round of applause as we welcome our Principal Secretary, Dr. Kori Sing'oei, to address us on this one. Welcome, Dr. And I would wish to ask the media also to give space once you've set up so that the rest of the audience can be able to have a look. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Joshua, for your kind words. Excellency Deputy SRSG of UNMISS, representing the SRSG of UNMISS, Excellency Mohamed Ware, the Deputy Executive Secretary of our esteemed organization IGAD, Excellency Paolo Impagliazzo, our colleagues with whom we are mediating this process from Sant'Egidio, Excellency representatives of our partners, Troika, China, East African Community, and IGAD here gathered. The key stakeholders in this process: SOMA, represented by General Pagan Amum, and Tognu, represented by General Paul Manyang. My friends, the mediators to this process, allow me first to commence by thanking all of us for being here this afternoon. It's a rather warm day in Nairobi. We have, in the recent past, experienced quite some wet conditions, but it looks like the weather is tending towards Christmas again. Excellencies, a day before Christmas last year, President Ruto received a note from his brother, President Salva Kiir Mayardit, requesting him to support South Sudan's opposition movement that was holding out with regard to commitment to the Araxes to participate in the political transformation and the transition of that country. In the months that followed, President Ruto began to grapple with this request, and he asked us to put together a team. In putting together the team and conceptualizing the mediation roadmap, we were struggling with what to call it. But the name Tumaini was chosen. It's a Swahili word that means hope. And now hope may sound like a casual concept of optimism, but it is our submission, in fact, that hope is revolutionary. Because hope rejects the permanence of status quo. Hope is incompatible with the notion of defeat. It is inconsistent with giving up. As a matter of fact, hope to our minds is a promissory note that positive outcomes will eventually be realized. In that regard, then, hope is like a post-dated check, which is issued as a firm commitment that very soon funds will become available for that check to be cashed and realized. And so it's not a casual concept. As a matter of fact, it is our firm belief that hope is a very powerful concept, and that is why it was chosen. In the course of the last 6 or 7 months, during which the two parties have met, I want to register our deep appreciation, because the two parties have been very consensual to our minds. They have been very collaborative in their engagement. And there's been a spirit of give and take, and a camaraderie and a brotherly understanding and a sisterly understanding has ensued between these two parties. So much so that often you don't even understand why there should be any disagreement at all. Because to my mind, General Manyang, these two parties deeply desire to see a united, democratic, peaceful, and prosperous South Sudan. And so it's not just the representatives of the government of national unity that desire this. It is the representatives of Soma that are honest in their desire for this country that was born with promise to take its place. And Excellencies, over this period of time, I think it has been made clear that negotiations have yielded critical outcomes. 8 protocols within such a short time represents a product of work, a labor of love, a commitment that I think we haven't seen in many peace processes in the recent past. And that could not have been possible without the level of committee and commitment that we have seen. And again, it has happened because of the dexterity, the skill, the sensitivity of the mediation team, both from Sant'Egidio together with our own team, to ensure that these parties are able to move together. With the resumption of these talks, we are very hopeful. We are hopeful because this is a great opportunity for South Sudan. Excellencies, let us not squander the goodwill that has been built. As I listened to the list of partners who are around this room, as I paid attention to the region, the regional representatives from EAC, the representatives from IGAD, the representatives from the Troika, from China, the representatives from our other partners from the Middle East, I think it's very clear that the whole world is rooting for South Sudan. And so it is the wish of His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya, and I know that it is the wish of the President of the Republic of South Sudan, that this process concludes, and concludes quickly, and concludes successfully, in order to usher in a rapid transition that will enable the holding of an election in South Sudan. Not just any election, but a credible election in another 1 year from today. So promise me, our friends, and promise President Ruto and President Kiir, that before Christmas, maybe a day or two before this Christmas, it will be a year since President Kiir made the request. Promises General Manyang, promises General Amum, promises our friends from Soma, promises that you will come to an agreement that will establish a clearer roadmap towards the realization of the objectives that we've set out. It is also important for me to speak to an issue that I think has been a feature of some of the conversations in the recent past. It is my belief, and it is the belief of the Republic of Kenya, that the Tumaini initiative was not designed to supplant or to replace or to abrogate the R-axis. The Tumaini initiative exists and is intended to complement and to implement the R-axis. And so there should be no doubt at all about the intention of this process. And so in conclusion, it is our hope that the next 14 days will be pivotal in shaping a new future for South Sudan, a future where every child, every man, every woman will feel secure to be able to realize their own potential. I want to thank you very, very much. Asante.
A round of applause to all our speakers of the day. And we want to appreciate your patience towards that regard. This particular occasion could not be successful with the participation, with the help of all of you. I want to reserve appreciation and recognition of the following people. Number one, the clergy made us aware that they invited the All Africa Council of Churches, as well as the National Council of Churches of Kenya, AACC, and NCCK, where they are. Can we give them a round of applause? Number two, I wish to appreciate the ministry or the team from the PS office and the State Department of Foreign Affairs. Let's give them a round of applause. Number two, I seek to sincerely appreciate the members of the Secretariat of the Tumaini Initiative. We give them a round of applause. They have been significant and instrumental over these past months, including today. We also want to appreciate the presence and support of the Kenyan ambassador to Juba, Ambassador Ndola. Let's give him a round of applause. We also want to appreciate our security team, both from the Kenyan side as well as from our dignitaries, for the coordination as well as the security they offer us. A round of applause for them. And last but not least, I want to acknowledge every single person who has been patient enough to sit with us through this session and be able to witness the relaunch of a process that is geared towards the finish. The spirit of this second round of the process is what exactly you've heard from the two principals, His Excellency Salva Kiir and His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, that we owe the people of South Sudan a Christmas gift. On or before the Christmas, if God wills, we are able, or we should be able, to deliver the Tumaini consensus. So we give a round of applause to every single person who came here. I also want to appreciate the members of the Fourth Estate or the journalists who have been able to keep the people of South Sudan abreast with this particular occasion. They have always come through to live stream and keep them abreast with every detail. We want to appreciate our delegates for the various interviews you offer to the media, because that's how the information gets. With that, I therefore wish to, I'll then be able to ask our dignitaries or our distinguished guests, as we finish, we'll do group photos. I think the group photo will be done out there. We'll close with a prayer. Then we'll allow our dignitaries to proceed, but we'll do group photo. We will insist for the high table as well as the members of the delegations for this process. Let me welcome one member of the clergy to close with a word of prayer before we depart. And as we depart, remember we have refreshment as well as snacks just behind, so none of the delegates or the members who have attended here to leave. It's enough for all of us. Let's share, let's commune, and be able to share ideas how to conclude the process. So I'll invite a representative of the clergy to close with a word of prayer, and then we'll give a chance to our dignitaries to take photos out there. Thank you. It has been a pleasure overseeing this. God bless you.
All right, that has been live coverage. iRadio is broadcasting live from the capital, Juba, and I'm Darlington Moses, together with Akile, or Emmanuel Akile, who is live in Kenya, of course, bringing you the updates and the live stream of the resumption of the initiative in Kenya. Of course, we have heard a lot from the delegates that has actually made significant statements in the launch as the initiative has officially resumed today. From here right away, we're going to hear the updates or the summary of the whole thing from Emmanuel Joseph Akile, and of course, he is live here. Emmanuel Joseph Akile, you are welcome.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The peace of the Lord be with you. Can we all rise up and greet one another with a sign of peace, including the opposition and the government, everybody. Peace be with you.
Thank you so much, Bishop. So our dignitaries, we could proceed down the aisle to be able to get, as the seats are being arranged for the group photo. I think the representatives of the delegations, both.
Well, of course, as Emmanuel Joseph Akile is getting ready to give us live update on how the launch has actually taken place, I would like to tell you that he will also be interviewing live some of the delegates to give more insights about the resumption of the talks and how it will go on. And of course, this morning at the Dawn Show, actually the spokespersons of the South Sudan Opposition Movement Alliance has been giving in some insights about the time frame of the Tumaini Peace Initiative that has just resumed, that it might be concluded within 2 weeks' time, and that would mean a Christmas gift for South Sudanese. We are getting ready here. Emmanuel Joseph Akile, you can give us a live update on how the resumption has been handled.
Yes, hello.